Welcome to Chain Reactions, a weekly live stream and podcast from Myosin.xyz, the leading global marketing network. I'm your host, Blake, joined by my co-host, Polina, and join us as each week we explore the chain reactions happening across crypto by interviewing the leaders behind the industry's most impactful companies. We go live on X every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern and release a podcast the following week. Let's get started. All right, let's get the show on the road. Welcome, everyone. This is Chain Reactions, your weekly live streaming podcast, hosted by yours truly and my co-host, Polina. How you doing today, Polina?
Hi. Good.
Excellent. But yeah, it's our weekly live streaming podcast where we talk to founders, marketers, and just all around awesome people from around the crypto and marketing space. And today, I think we have some very special guests on to talk about AI and what AI-enabled marketing looks like. Because, and I think you'll start to see this on the podcast as well, but especially in 2026, we're entering a brave new world where AI is very much entering the mainstream. It's taking over. It's changing how we think about marketing within crypto, or what is fast becoming fintech, if you will, and every other industry that is being that's out there. So really excited to have two of our very own, Jay and Shay, on to talk about AI-enabled marketing. And yeah, how are you guys doing today, guys?
Great.
Feeling
good. Feeling great.
Amen. All right. Well, listen, the way we always love to kick things off is some intros, right? So if you guys could tell us a bit about yourselves, your story, you know, how you got into the space, how you got into marketing, and what led you to this point. And then we can get started from there.
Cool. So yeah, I'll jump straight in. So yeah, I'm Jay, Jared. Everybody just calls me Jay. I've lived in some places where my name gets butchered, so just Jay. But yeah, basically, I am working alongside Shane currently as the AI and Growth Guild lead at Myosin. Worked in the space for a good couple of years, about 6 years now. Worked with Polina and Blake as well on some different projects as well. And yeah, it's been an honor and a privilege to work with them, some of the smartest people in the game. How I got started in this space was I come from South Africa, and in South Africa, you see a lot of like the infrastructure is broken. And, you know, for example, you get people from the middle of Africa coming down to South Africa to do some work, and it takes like a week for them to send money to their families. And if ever there's an issue, you know, it's impossible for people to get access to money really, really quickly. And I realized that was a broken system. And I was working in an agency, and they onboarded a blockchain client, and I was red-pilled straight away. I was like, this is a solution for the future. And then I started to understand more about crypto and, you know, the borderlessness of crypto and the instantaneous of transactions and the ownership of your digital assets. And I was like, this is the space for me. And I'm not a tech guy. I work in tech. I'm not a tech guy, but I know how to sell some stuff. So that's how I got involved in marketing. Yeah, I read the book Influence, which kind of sent me down the rabbit hole of marketing. And yeah, then a couple of years later, I'd managed to join Myosin, which was, in my opinion, a massive stamp of approval on my career, because some of the best marketers in the crypto and just tech game. So absolute privilege to be here. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. A little bit of qualification is I've been a CMO for a couple of projects. I've run a couple agencies. I've worked in some of the biggest agencies in the space, and none compare to Myosin. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Rock and roll.
All right.
Good to have you. Shane.
Yeah, my story is a bit different. I was a Middle Eastern journalist for 10-ish years, working on that and humanitarian work. Came across blockchain in one of my projects because we were kind of trying to prove evidence of war crimes. And one of the proposals was to capture data that was taken like by camera and make sure that it's incontrovertible and placed on a blockchain, so you know that it was taken at that location at that time. So that's what kind of piqued my interest. And then a few years later, I'd set up a company with a friend of mine doing security risk management, but COVID hit, so it didn't take off. And then I had the option to join a privacy company in the Web3 space. So I joined, and I've been here ever since. And I've been with Myosin a good 8-9 months now. It's been an absolute privilege.
It's been a fun time. And it's been really great to have you guys on, and you guys been doing great work. And yeah, excited to talk about AI-enabled marketing and all that. But real quick, actually, quick side note, actually, Shane, a lot of the stuff you're talking about with like kind of proving proof of, I guess, photo, I guess, of the provenance of a photo. It is funny because I think a couple, like I've seen various iterations on that in the past couple years. So I know like the Sync team with like ZK proving they had a really
Yeah.
good experiment around that, and so people are still trying to do it, which is really cool. So who
And it
knows?
could be used for everything from like insurance and anytime you need to prove that something was taken in location. So yeah,
Yeah,
great use case.
100%. And very relevant because we're talking about AI and proof, we're entering this crazy world where AI gets, it's just penetrating everything in every industry that we're talking about. And so I think that's a great transition point to kind of ask you guys straight up, like, what the hell is AI-enabled marketer? How do you guys describe it? Let's start there.
Should I jump in?
Yeah, go right
Well,
ahead, man.
side, I think there is two sides to it. One is the education side to it. So being aware of what AI slop is out there, being able to recognize things, knowing, just having that kind of lens so that you can be a more informed member of society. But two, being aware of what you could build, you could use AI for. So just knowing like the potential for it at the moment is enormous, and being informed in that level is key. And then there's the practical, actually having the tools that will help you do your job much better.
Yeah, I'd love to follow on from that, and I think mine is a simplification of this, which is basically, guys, let's be honest. Amongst the four of us sitting here, how many times have you in the last month, 2 months, seen a post that says, "My OpenClaw just removed the need for my 15K a month agency," or "This one Claude Code took my, replaced my entire marketing team"? Look, the reality of the situation, right? I mean, it's just consistent, but the reality of the situation is relatively simplistic. AI is here, and it's going to go one of two ways. You're either going to use it or you're going to be replaced by somebody who is going to use it. And I think this is particularly applicable for us from a marketing perspective. You can never replace years of experience in marketing and know how to build these funnels and know how to speak to people. But these tools that we're constantly seeing people spin up. I mean, I can spin a landing page up in like 5 minutes. Previously, each one of us here is a senior marketer. You know how much of a pain that was to get done. Just a simple landing page could have taken a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? I can do it in 5 minutes now. So it rapidly accelerates our speed of iteration. How fast can we iterate, get data, move? And effectively, AI-enabled marketing is leveraging these tools that are readily available to us, that are this new narrative, this new craze, not replacing us, using them to enable us so that we're not wary of AI, we're enabled by AI, and we're using it as a superpower, because nobody can replace a good marketer. It's one of those things.
I want to jump in on that again, actually. Just in my experience, it's been such a power unlock in being able to build things that previously were just the remit of technical people. And, a couple of years ago, I was doing some coding courses, and it was so laborious that, after days and days and days, I had built something, and it was the snake game. And I was like, well, this is kind of useless, but it has taken me so long to get there. Whereas now, with a few clicks of a button, a few good prompts, you can build anything you want, really. It's unbelievable.
Polina, I think you're muted. Sorry.
Yep. I'm curious to know where you guys' journey have started, because now that I was trying to kind of answer this question myself, I realized that, you know, before this whole like ChatGPT boom, there were tools like Copy.ai and like Jasper AI, and I was trying to use them like 6 years ago, maybe, because I was like I wasn't even in crypto yet, I think, to do copy, and then ChatGPT came along, and everybody was like, "Ah, this is." Ridiculous, this whole like Will Smith videos and everything. And then there was the automation boom, right? And now it's the OpenClaw boom and everything. So I'm curious, like, what wave did you get caught on? Because I think, Jay, I kind of noticed your wave and how you got into N8N, but maybe it was just a push.
Yeah, so for context, Pauline and I were working together on one of our clients, and he really needed something to help him understand the way that like everything was, what was the narrative on X? And
In
we spent a
crypto
bit
AI.
in crypto AI. Yeah. So it was specific to crypto AI. He called it sense making. He wanted to make sense of the narrative that was being spoken about in crypto and how he could find the right spaces to put in his comments and, you know, the way for his team to create content and these kinds of things. Very useful idea. And we spent some time building it. And yeah, that's kind of what pushed me down the N8N rabbit hole. But previous to this, it's so funny you mentioned Jasper, because I didn't know people were using this way back when, because that was one of the first tools that I used was Jasper. And then it was Zapier. Zapier was like the goat for me. I watched what's the young gentleman's name, Iman Gadzi, who was like,
Mm,
if I can do anything, I'll automate everything because it just saves time,
mhm.
right? So that's how I got into it, and then ChatGPT came around, and that changed the game.
Make.com.
Yeah, yeah.
And you,
ChatGPT
Shane?
moment.
Yeah, for me, it was more. I remember designing some brand images just on LinkedIn just for fun, like a Nike sneaker and all this dust coming up, and it looked incredible. And I remember being kind of blown away by that. But really, it was N8N at the start of last year and feeling like, okay, I can actually automate some of the boring tasks that I have. And then I was like, well, actually, I can start building things, combining that with vibe coding. And so very quickly, I was able to generate a lead magnet for a client. And it was like, wow, this is a tremendous power unlock. Before I was focusing on content, and that's, you know, where I'm very confident in. But now I'm able to just build tools that, you know, clients are using. So that was really it, and I've been hooked since.
Curious also to know what's your like day-to-day stack looks like, because I feel like there are some people who are more into like vibe coding and creating this experience, like Shane, you mentioned the quiz. Like for me it's a lot about like creative thinking, looking at things from different angles, but also for me one of the hugest unlocks is like creating the visuals and videos that I actually have in my head and being able to do them just like myself and he's without the need for After Effects. Without, like 10 years ago I used to use Blender to do 3D stuff because I wanted to like do stuff in 3D, and now I can just one prompt do it and find so this was like the hugest unlock for me. And sometimes I think about it and I'm like, we've come so far, it's crazy. So I'm curious to know like what are the things that you use day to day. And if you do like Claude, is obvious, but like what is your, is it Claude Code or what do you use it for?
Shane, you want to go on?
Sure. Yeah, Claude and Claude Code mainly. Some N8N automations that, you know, especially for the research side of things, I like to have a bunch of different news aggregators that give me information first thing in the morning. So they're running in the background. Then Claude's Code whenever I'm building something. And that's what I've been using a lot lately. But also there's, you know, I kind of lean into my interests. So when there's image and video generation things that are kicking off, and let's say a friend of mine was setting up a pub in Lisbon. And so I was like, let me take this as a chance to build a little teaser for you, like a promo video. And just by getting into something with a practical use case that I can show off to people or he can use for promotion, that's where I encourage others to really lean into. Like, it has to be enjoyable if you're going to get a lot out of it. And so it's different tools for different seasons.
I think I'll double down on that. For me, it's different tools for different days, but I think there's kind of a consistent, right? So for me, always good old faithful ChatGPT. And the reason I love ChatGPT is just from a GPT creation perspective. I think there's, you know, it's simple, reliable, very easy. If I want something trained in a specific way, that's the guy, right? That's the one I go to. I always use Claude every single day. Claude Skills, Claude Cowork, Claude Code. I love Claude Cowork. I know people don't really see the value in it sometimes. I love it. I love having the information outputted onto my computer immediately. I love being able to organize I'm one of those people who takes 10,000 screenshots a day. So my desktop is just hideous. So I love the ability to just kind of organize it. But then it really does depend on the day. So it's like I use OpenClaw. I'm an OpenClaw guy. That's what I love. I've got a very unique setup with OpenClaw. I've created my own operating system with OpenClaw, like its own mission control, basically. And then really it's like, if we're talking about video and image generation, Paulina, as you've mentioned, we have the same kind of unlock here, which is, I want to just see what's in my mind come out. And I use, for me, this is Higgsfield. Love this. Incredible tool. If we're talking about web design, I love anti-gravity. I love using VS Code as an IDE. And then similarly, if you're talking about music, Suno, what an amazing tool. Like all of these things in combination allow you to do 10,000 times the things. I mean, imagine 10 years ago, if you'd have said to me that I'd be vibe coding an app and 10 minutes later creating a production quality cinematic video whilst also producing, a like crazy soundtrack, I would have called you crazy. It would have taken me weeks to do that, but now it's a matter of minutes. So that's kind of the day-to-day tech stack, and OpenClaw's my guy. That's all I can say. So
it's funny also how we say, oh, it takes so quick now and everything, but I find that there's so many more things that I want to do now that no matter how short it takes, I don't have enough time and energy for this. But Blake, what's your tech stack?
I mean, it's a similar thing. I think it's kind of overwhelming for me as well. I think ChatGPT, I think, frankly, is still my kind of, and maybe that speaks to the power of like, not sunk cost fallacy, but like the lock-in effect, right? It's just like, I'm just too locked in there. It has too much context on me at this point. Now, that being said, like, I kind of use it for a lot of random stuff. I'll use it for a bit of Myosin stuff because it has Myosin context, but it's more like personal. And I do find the voice is one of the best in the game that I've seen. But then I have Grok, obviously, for anything that's like more news related. So if it's more current events, I'll go to Grok. And then, yes, also OpenClaw and Claude. But I don't know. I feel maybe I need to, talk to Jay and Shane here, because I think with my OpenClaw, like, I have a pretty good config setup, but I don't know. At least for me, I found the coding bit to be a lot more powerful just with classic Claude Code. So I've been using Claude Code, and I kind of connected to a GitHub that my OpenClaw is also connected to, so they can like collaborate. It's good for like coding on the go. But I don't know, maybe for me, I don't have enough trust yet in AI that I'm like, yes, just go. I feel like you see all these stories on X or whatever of people that are like, kind of like what Jay was alluding to, of like, people like, yeah, like I told my bot to build this and it did it overnight and it was amazing. And I'm like, I've tried that. It's like, I feel like with AI, you very much still need to continue steering it, right? Because it'll go say it built it, and then you try it and you're like, well, this kind of works. This button is this is not really what I wanted. So it's like, and then also I mostly use Replit actually for building. So a lot of the stuff we've been building at Myosin, at least from an intro perspective that I'm owning, I really like Replit, and shout out to them. One day would love to get Replit on the pod actually, because I think they've done a really incredible job for non-technical people like myself. Because Claude Code is amazing from the coding side, but I think what Replit does really an amazing job of, it's kind of like an all-in-one solution, right? So, you can ideate the what you're going to build, you can build it, it does all the hosting, it has the staging environment right there, you can add the environment variables, and they're always just iterating, and Matt, who's their dev rel, is like, I follow him on X, like he's just incredible. So I don't know. I didn't expect to be going on a Replit love bomb there, but that kind of got to give them a shout out, because I think for me at least, vibe coding for the past year, it's been pretty invaluable from my side. Although I will say now it's like same thing with OpenClaw. It's like GitHub always the central thing. So, and then again, right in Replit, you just hit the button, you just push to Git, right? And then I also have Claude Code connected. So if I have a really complicated thing I want to build, I can just tell Claude Code like, hey, do this. It pushes to GitHub. Replit can read it. And then the agent there will kind of say, like, this is good. Let me make sure this makes sense. So it's all connected, right? But it is overwhelming. And yeah, there's a lot of like creative work to do. Yeah.
We need to do an edit of you, Blake, just saying Replit, and then post it as a video and a public invitation for them to join the podcast.
You should get Matt on. I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's so many things, and I think for those who maybe are not so familiar with Claude Code, Claude Cowork, skills, all of this sort of things, I think it would be really helpful to like maybe put it into buckets a bit and share how exactly and maybe what are the limitations of each, so that people could kind of better understand where do they start, please. Welcome.
Yeah, maybe let's
Thank-
just call out people, because I don't know, Jay and Shane, you guys are too nice to each other. Just
Yeah.
Say that again. We need.
You can go first, because Jay's waiting for your answer.
But sorry, the question exactly.
I think you
the,
missed the
the
question.
difference between the
Yeah.
Claude skills, like Claude Cowork and Claude
Mhm.
Code.
In the AI-enabled marketer.
Yeah, generally, like where do people start?
Well,
And
I think
like what are the
everybody's.
limitations?
Yeah, everybody starts with the different LLMs and prompting. And whenever people say that they're getting into AI, they just think quite squarely of the LLM. With the limitations, what's really difficult is the limitations one day change. All of these things that OpenClaw could do now, other tools, especially Claude Code, is able to do as well. So that's another challenge in our curriculum. Like when we're building these educational videos, the space is moving so quickly that some of the things that we're talking about one day um, are not 100% by the end. But we've
Yeah.
built in mind to have the foundations that are things that everybody who wants to get into AI needs to have. With what we're teaching them, they can 5-10x their work and get a lot more
I
out of it.
realized that we need to back out a little bit, because we
Mhm.
didn't actually mention school and talked about it yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So like what the curriculum, because you mentioned the curriculum, I was like, we didn't even come to it yet. So what is this initiative that you guys are doing at the Growth Guild in general, and like how can everyone get their hands on it?
Community shill. Yeah, so it's our Skoool, so SKOOL, community. It's called the AI-Enabled Marketer, and it's everything we've kind of talked about so far, like the reasons for this community. It's geared for beginners, particularly marketers and small business owners, people who want a curriculum, a community, don't have time to just jump into every single YouTube video and try and cobble together some learning. There's a bit of a learning path and homework. So we're designing it also from our point of view, as in from Myosin's point of view. What are the builds that people in our community will use? What are things that marketers need? So very practical, hands-on builds, rather than you'll make it $40 million with this YouTube video, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
We're trying to stay
Yeah.
more honest.
Absolutely. Want to double down on that. So, I mean, exactly what Shane said. I mean, Skoool, the beauty of us using Skoool is that what it allows us to do is have a set curriculum in place. And so we're not trying to be one of those, we're not trying to be like a course bro kind of thing. That's not at all what we're trying to do. There's a very real threat that's happening in our industry from a marketing perspective. And that is, if you're not leveraging AI, you're going to be replaced by somebody who is. And so for us, what we wanted to do is we wanted to really facilitate the growth and the ability for people to learn. And so how do we do that? Well, we wanted to structure it in a way where it was easy to follow along. We're easily able to send emails to people, send messages to people, update. I mean, yesterday I dropped a video in about Myosin Visual Engine, which is basically a trained GPT, which gives you a specific output in natural language prompt and JSON that you can use for an AI and video generation model. And it gives you like unrivaled quality in terms of the production value of the image that you're getting, for example, specific for editorial kind of photographs. And so then it's kind of thinking, okay, well, why did we create this? Well, the reason we created it was because I saw that there was and Shane and I, we spoke about this for ages, but what we saw was we saw like this there's an AI influencer a day, and there's somebody talking about something new a day. There's an influx of information. You don't know where to start. It's paralysis through information overload, right? You can't even say analysis because there's just too much to analyze. And so how do we sift through all of this, looking specifically through the lens of a marketer? Shane, who's, content growth. I've been a CMO. I've done growth. I've done content. I've done all of these things. And how do we look at these things from the perspective of how's this going to add value to you? What are the skills you need to know as a marketer, looking at it from that lens? And we wanted to structure it and have it in a space where there's a community for you to ask questions. We'll do our best to respond. Community is there. You can ask other people. You can get involved with people. And there's a whole series of things that are going to come from this. We're going to do events. We're going to do a whole series of things. Right now, our focus is just on building up the great quality content. We're almost at a stage where we're very happy with the content, the volume of content. But we just need to accelerate slightly more. Very happy with where it is, and the content that's there is fantastic. But the space is ever changing, so we're doing our best to keep up. But yeah, that's kind of the lens with which we started Skoool. The AI-enabled marketer in Skoool is to structure the learning of all of this stuff, looking at it through the lens of a marketer and how you can use AI to accelerate your marketing.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that gets me most excited about this initiative and what you guys are building, and why I'm always going to be the biggest promoter and let people know, because I think I actually just had like an onboarding call with one of our new members joining next week, and I think she's brilliant. She just joined a very big name in the crypto world, at least, and she's really on top of it. But even for her, she was telling me, I was like, so what are you feeling, what excites you most about Myosin, and what's your intention, et cetera? And she was basically like, I think it's just like staying up to date on everything happening within crypto and AI specifically, and agents. She's like, I just joined this new place. I'm a first marketing hire, and I know I need to build like agents, but it's a bit intimidating. Like, what the hell I can do it. And like, she's very smart, but it's not even about how smart you are. It's just like, it's overwhelming, right? The amount of information. Because as you said, there's a new tweet every other day that makes you feel FOMO about this new OpenClaw thing, or there's a new model that suddenly is better than all the other models. And there's another thing. And so I think just having a community of people who are all share that same interest and can help upskill is like just so valuable into this crazy world we're headed into. Yeah.
100%. And then just to add on that is, it's like, like you were saying, it's how many times do you see a post go out saying, oh, I did this overnight and something worked? Yeah. Well, we're not about that. We don't like promote stuff to try and get you to join the community. That's not what we do. We're talking about real things that you can implement, not some, clickbait tweet reshare kind of thing that's going to get me 10,000, a million, 100,000 views, on X. It's real stuff. That's what we're aiming for. So it's cutting out the noise and focusing on the real things that you can utilize.
And to jump in there, like some of our builds, we're also showing where the errors are. So it's a real, okay, we've hit an error. How do we troubleshoot? How do we resolve this? So it's very practical in that sense. And then doubling down on your community point, Blake, like that's one thing that I've found invaluable both at Myosin, it's amazing DAO, and through the Skoool community, is because in so many roles that I've had, and it's increasingly going to be the way, you're a one person marketing team. You're the marketing manager or CMO, and there's nobody else. And so having your finger on the pulse of what's going on, having the encouragement from other people, sharing ideas, that is what is been so useful for my learning, for my growth. So,
and I think to just follow up on that with all the practical learnings and everything, why don't we jump into the segment where Shane, maybe you show us the
sure.
quiz and one of the examples that people will learn how to do in Skoool.
Shared quite quickly, but let me know. Are we in?
We can see you loud and clear.
Okay.
And us. We love a live demo.
Yeah. It's always going to go wrong in live demo. But anyway.
That's how it goes.
This was an AI marketing literacy quiz that I came up with as an idea to get people to join the Skoool community. So it comes up with, it has a bunch of questions, and you click away, and at the end, it'll give you your results. So it'll give you an idea of how AI literate you are. So I'll show you the video as well. What's useful there is, and I'll show you here we go. What's useful here in this quiz is that at once you can use it as a lead magnet, so you can get people's email addresses and then contact them and encourage them to join your community in this case. Two, it acts as a market segmentation tool, so you can get an idea of how, in this case, AI qualified different people are, so you can tailor your content accordingly. But I've also used it for clients, so let's say a financial client, to figure out how aggressive or conservative their risk profile was. And so these kinds of builds can be, once you have the idea, once you know how to build one, you can just go wild and build all sorts of different things. So the video is me going through that. I'll turn off the volume because it's jarring to hear me go through it, but I talk about the process. What's really important for me, or what I emphasize strongly, is like the preparation side. So in this particular build, there's a lot of work with Claude Code. So at the beginning, I've come up with, okay, the idea for the quiz. What's a perfect amount of questions? We want to keep people hooked to this quiz. We don't want them to jump off. It came up with 6 or 7. So I was like, okay, that's the questions. Then I go into, let's come up with different questions that cover different areas that we're focused on, and try and have it backed up by some degree of good sourcing. And you just go through that back and forth for a while until you have the questions right. Then is like the fun part, where you go into Claude Code and you start to build it. Then I show you how to host it. And if you've never used GitHub before, I show you how to do that. I show you how to set up a landing page. This is all free. The only thing you need is the Claude paid version for Claude Code to work. Hosting it on VS Code, and within half an hour, you have a lead magnet that works. So it's really practical. And then if there's any questions or support, there's areas for that in the channel. So I think otherwise it'll get less exciting.
That was a great build, by the way. That was something we actually built for a client previously, and it was something we used to kind of segment their audience. So in other words, thinking specifically top of funnel from a paid ads perspective, what we really wanted to do was we wanted to really segment the audience in a way where, as they're going down the funnel, we're providing them with specific pieces of information that are related to the products that the companies sell, so that their journey is tailored to them. And it really wasn't a difficult process. It was Shane and his ability to spin these things up very quickly, like knocked it straight out of the park. And then what we did was we built a backend on n8n, which kind of segmented this data accordingly, added them into different emailing campaigns through the client's emailing tool, through some webhooks or APIs. And we were able to immediately automate drip campaigns to those people specific to the type of product that's related to their, where they are in their journey. And it was literally a 30-minute process for us to get that set up. While Shane was building the front end, I was building the back end, and that was it. It was sorted. And Paulina, sorry, just one quick thing I just wanted to double down on was we actually started with N8N in the course. And the reason for that is really simple. It's because in my mind, and I think in Shane's mind, we kind of came to the consensus that, it's great that you can have access to Claude Code and you can have access to all of these things. For me, as somebody who's done this for a little period of time, as you can see, like what Shane's showing over here, it's really important for you to be able to visually see the way that things are going in your mind. Like, how is this architected and why does this matter? What is the flow of data? It just makes everything so much more real and so much more, I would say, tangible for you to be able to build something that makes sense. And I like to think of it, we had when we were doing our internal learn sessions, we had Bettina, who is running our DevRel Guild, and she spoke to us about thinking like an engineer. And one of the first things she told us was, she was like, well, think about the entire process. What does this look like? How can you map this out in your mind? And how does it all make sense? So that's why we started with N8N, and connecting that to something like what Shane's done here it's a no-brainer. It makes marketing so much easier. So yeah, just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I'll also say that it's put together in a way that's really simplified. So as you can see in this N8N build, there's only 3 different nodes. And that's all you need for a build like this, to connect it from the front end to the back end, and it connects to Google Sheets. That's simple. So in designing these things, we made a big effort to make it accessible to everybody.
Yeah, and I think NA10 can be a bit overwhelming for someone who never has used it, but I would say that the sort of getting the basics and understanding for how to get at least thinking about what you want to achieve and then figuring out how to do it in NA10 is like the beginning. ChatGPT is your like best friend in this, from what I found when I tried to do with NA10. You can literally take a screenshot of the whole thing and it will write you down where are your mistakes and everything. Because when I started with NA10, my biggest I have a degree in mathematics, and my biggest like hate was computer science, just because I did not have the patience for this type of like errors. And I just love so much that when the error comes up on the screen, I could just make a screenshot, send it to ChatGPT and say, please help. Please help. And it just works like magic. And so yeah. It can be overwhelming, but there are ways around it. And I wanted to double down on the Higgsfield workflow that Jay mentioned that you have. If you can showcase that, I'd love
Yeah,
to
so
see.
I'll actually do two things here, if you don't mind, Paulina. So what I want to kind of show is I want to show the Skoool community first and foremost, and then show the different sections, kind of show where we are from an AI, just like workflow perspective. And then we've just started revealing some of the stuff from the AI video and image generation perspective. So I'll share now. Give me 1 second. Technology. Hopefully it is my friend today. Let us see. Let us see. Okay, we're going to go full screen share. Okay, so we'll get there in a minute. All right, cool. So this is basically what our Skoool community looks like at this point in time. You guys can see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So basically what we've got here is we've got, the different modules that we're covering so far is we've got our getting started, really simplistic, just an introduction. Then we go over the basics of N8N, and now doubling down on the basics of N8N. This is a section that I covered. I love N8N. I think it's a great tool, but we cover what it is. We cover, what's the difference between an automation, an AI automation, an AI agent, how N8N works, and prompting, why prompting matters, and what is an LLM. And LLM is basically just a really smart intern that's studied a lot, but has no idea how to do the job. So you have to be extremely specific with them. They're a prediction engine. How can you make what it is that they're trying to do or you want them to do clear? And we then talk about different frameworks for you to provide prompts in, like with a clear framework, etc. Then we talk about setting up N8N and how that works using Hostinger. You can either host this on their cloud account or you can host this on Hostinger, which is a VPS and comes with some positives and some negatives. There's more workflows that you can use. There's more concurrent things that you can do. But of course, it requires a little bit more maintenance, it's a little bit more intimidating to set something up on a VPS, because you kind of have to manage the security and the updates. And it's a little bit more concern or more technically difficult. And then we just basically talk about you building your first workflow, how you import a workflow, and then creating a Telegram chatbot. And that's basically where we've stopped from the beginners section from an N8N point of view. Then what we do is we go slightly more into some of the additional N8N templates. There's a heap of these. We're going to be continuously adding. Shane's owning Claude Code. He's doing some great stuff over there, and he's got plenty of videos lined up. He's busy editing a few of them. We've got some marketing builds as well, which is where Shane talks about this kind of lead magnet system, these kinds of things. And then there's also the AI image and video generation that I've just basically started revealing a little bit more on. And the funny thing about this space, I think, when it comes to like AI and these kind of tools is, one, there's a plethora of information available if you know how to sift out all the nonsense. But two is, you're able to pick up these skills incredibly quickly. So I'll give you some super quick context. I think you saw the image that I shared earlier, very, very briefly. But basically what we've done is, as I mentioned, we've created a GPT, which is like my creative director. And this is called Myosin Visual Engine. Now, when it comes to like the creation of images, videos, these kinds of things, you can kind of prompt it and like just be like, give me a person doing this, and it'll look decent. But if you're talking about like editorial quality, like if we're talking about representing a brand and we're talking about representing that brand well from a marketing perspective, from a marketing agency point of view, from a visual point of view, what you really want is you want editorial quality. I'm thinking Vogue, I'm thinking, these kinds of things. You want those kinds of outputs. And so we're thinking about like camera angles and lighting and, ISO and aperture and these kinds of things, all of these photographic, thoughts that a creative director would think about that you and I wouldn't even dream of thinking about. Like it's not even a part of the realm of conversation for us. And so it outputs this data for you after you ask it for some specific things. And that output is so incredibly useful because it outputs two things. One, in natural language, just so if you need to, you can use it. And two is it outputs a JSON output. And that JSON output, why JSON? Because JSON is so much more formatted and structured that it goes into excruciating detail and allows any of the models that are picking up the prompt to provide a far better, quality of output because it's got more context, right? Context is king when it comes to LLMs, and your prompt there is king. And so if you can give it the best quality prompt, that's gonna drastically increase the output. So if you're looking to get your hands on this, you've got to jump into the Skoool community, free for the first 7 days, and then we charge you. But yeah, you can definitely get access to this. And the type of quality output that you get is something along like these kinds of lines, right? So I use Higgsfield. And we cover a couple of different, these videos are already done and scheduled. They're just going to be posted on a daily basis now. But we use a couple of free tools in the course. We use a couple of tools that are paid. My favorite tool is Higgsfield. Higgsfield is an aggregator of different models. I just find the user experience, the interface, and the ability for me to work in it so easy. And what I did was, you see, it outputted a natural language prompt, but the prompt that I used was a JSON prompt. And if you look at this, let me see if I can just zoom in slightly. If you genuinely look at this, like in my opinion, this looks like a studio quality image, right? It looks like I could imagine seeing this in a fashion magazine or on the cover of a magazine somewhere. It looks extremely high quality. And so the basic workflow is you go into Myosin Visual Engine, you give it the high level of what you're wanting to do. You're wanting to create a character, you wanting to create a campaign. Maybe you see a nice image and you want the prompt, or you want to animate something. It's got those 4 functions. It outputs the prompt in perfect JSON. You bring it over to your model. You pop it in, gives you exactly what you're looking for. Some of the other things that we'll be talking about in Higgsfield is we'll be talking about character consistency. So this is terrible character consistency. This is something that I've gotten from one of my colleagues that I'm busy trying to change. They generated it of me. So, but yeah, then this is some of the character consistency, and this has been historically some of the most difficult things to cover when you're talking about like image generation, video generation, is how do you maintain consistency from one scene to the next, one image to the next? It always changes. And so it's really, I didn't generate these for vanity metrics, guys. This is a feature here called photo dump. So you just prompt it and it outputs a whole heap of photos. But as you can see, it's like the consistency is ridiculous, right?
Brilliant.
And so
look at that.
we go over a whole section where we cover that. So yeah, incredibly useful.
Ooh, look at you. You got some hair in that one.
Hey man. I've never seen myself with hair like that. So yeah, that
looking
looks
sharp, buddy.
It's pretty cool, man.
I
Yeah.
think the big thing here when you generate the images of yourself, and I found it like with Higgsfield, and I don't know if you, Jay, did, it cannot get my face right. I'm like, do I have such a complicated face? It's like, it's not me. Like sometimes it is, and I PFP in like Twitter and LinkedIn is like, I think is as close as it can get. But oh my god, sometimes it's hard. And you just gotta, I think the biggest thing in Higgsfield, and every time I keep reminding myself, if you generate something 2-3 times and it doesn't do what you want, change the prompt.
Yeah.
Even the
Mhm.
slightest tweak, because it takes everything so literally that a slight tweak can change everything. I spent like sometimes, an hour tweaking a prompt to get it to what I wanted to do.
Why they call it prompt tuning,
And,
right? Yeah.
yeah. But everyone keeps saying, it's so easy, you just go and generate it. be
I
my
think it's like
guest.
anything else,
This is
right?
not the
It's
case.
like, I think with marketing or creative or anything else, like, I think that's where, of course, there's so much hype around it. But we have to remember, number one, all these AI companies are incentivized to hype up this technology because they have to go raise their next round. They need to go get people excited so they can pump their own bags. And of course, AI will be eating the world in many ways. But at the same time, I think it's just like any other tool, right? It's just like when Photoshop came out or when Figma came out or Illustrator, all those various creative tools or Squarespace. Like, of course, technology will flatten the differences between the technical and the non-technical. But at the end of the day, like, we're seeing it with our own creative team, right? Myosin Creative Studio, which will be kind of relaunching very soon, along with AI Studio and all these other fun initiatives we got cooking with these guys, right? Is, anyone can do these things, but when you actually get into the nitty gritty of it, you start to realize, like, oh, like it does still take effort. It still takes, as Polina said, maybe an hour of tuning, of really sitting down and honing to get that thing just exactly the way you want it. Yeah, so it's exciting. And yeah, really pumped. I guess real quick, because by the way, I do have to flag, we're almost at time. We should probably move on to rapid fire in a bit. But Vijay and Shane, I'm sure, we got some people listening in right now. Like, where can you share the link, maybe screen share it so they know just exactly where to go? And then we can get into rapid fire questions while we have that up on the screen. That might be the easiest way to do it. So maybe if there's like a landing page to the enabled marketer. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? We have the new landing page. I think is the link live on that? We had unless you guys already have one you want to share. Boom, boom, boom. Let me see. Okay, you know what? We already got it going. I will share this out. And this is hot off the presses, folks. This isn't even live yet. By the way, this link might change, but I can share my screen. If you are watching and you're interested, one of our designers, who by the way is also an AI-enabled marketer or designer in this case, just put this up. You can, learn more about how it works, what you'll build. You'll get to see some beautiful images of Jay and Shane right here. Look at that. Look at these sexy folks. Who it's for, list goes on, right? But at the end of the day, I think if you're listening and you're curious, the main thing to do right now is go check us out on Skoool.com, the AI-enabled marketer, and go play around with it. Really cool place. We're just getting started. We're going to be drumming up and growing this community significantly over the course of this year. And as always, the earlier you get in, the better. So get that alpha and get involved. And lots of opportunity. We're talking and we're building a lot of things. So I can't give too much away, but I think you'll want to get in now rather than in a couple months' time. Cool. So with all that being said, folks, I think we should jump into rapid fire. So I don't know, Polini, if you want to kick it off, and we'll go back and forth as usual and take
Yeah,
it home.
let's do it. What is the most underrated tactic in Web3 right now? Shane,
Or
you go
maybe
first.
maybe for this we pivot it to AI actually, right? I don't know. Yeah,
I mean,
considering what we're
marketing
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
as a AI-enabled marketer, what is the most underrated tactic right now?
I still think the importance of networks, who you know, because the amount of opportunities that you get through people, through connections, through just making people aware of what you're doing, even also being live with your builds, showcasing what you're doing. People will just drop into my LinkedIn messages or whatever, requesting a call for and an opportunity will just come of it. So
Mm.
emphasizing the importance of personal connections despite this AI push.
Still
Build
so
in
important.
public. Show up.
Build in public for sure.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say build in public, and then just from a technical perspective, prompting. Just you got to figure out how to prompt properly. That's all.
It's a new art form, art and science. Okay, flip side. What's the most overrated marketing tactic that you guys see today?
I don't know if it's overrated, but it's really frustrating me is the automated comments that you get on X
Oh
and LinkedIn.
yeah,
And that
comment slop.
Listen,
Yeah.
guys.
I think trust is so important to a brand. And when you see people who automate these sorts of things, you lose that trust. So yeah, you might generate some quick wins, but you need to factor in the long-term success of your brand.
You know what? Can I just have my 2 cents here? I think in LinkedIn, it really works. But I also remember and never forget people who just share trash quality, these lead magnets that basically add no value. But if you create a lead magnet that is actually useful, I am doing this over and over again, and I'm giving you more reach and more reach because I value that. So it is a legit growth tactic. I think it's more cringe on X than on LinkedIn, if you ask me. But if you put it out, just make sure it's actually decent, like, and it adds value to people, and you're just not farming comments because you know, some people post a lot of this and then just never follow up. And I cannot believe that someone can sleep at night when they do this. It's like, just, yeah. Jay, what were you about to say?
I was going to say the exact same thing. So, like the reply guying, but reply guying with absolute AI slop. It's like you got to have a filter. It's got to be good. It's not about spray and pray. It's rather thinking about how you can use it as a certified growth tactic to add value to a conversation, not to just appear in one with no context or no value.
Love it. We should keep getting along here. Wrap it up. Paulina, next one.
Let's go for the last one, maybe, Blake.
Or should we just skip
That's
yeah, okay.
last.
Well, we'll take it home here. But looking back at the past year or so, I think what are your biggest learnings as marketers, but also obviously people building a program like AI-Enabled Marketer? And you guys, I feel like kudos to you. I can think you guys have made a lot of progress on all of this in just the past couple months. But yeah, biggest learnings.
I'll take that. I'll take that first. So what mine is probably one is just build. If that's what your intention is, sit down, focus, build. That's the biggest. Nothing replaces hard work. The second is, I'm just going to repeat it again for like the third time. AI is coming, whether you want to or whether you don't. Lean into it, because if you don't lean into it, you're going to be knocked out by somebody who is leaning into it. So yeah, that's my biggest learning.
Similar for me in that, you could just sit at home and watch YouTube videos all day and think that you're learning, but you actually have to do it. You have to get your hands dirty. And like, you are going to hit hurdles. It's not as easy as people say, but it will get easier. And so once you put in, the hard yards now, you'll reap dividends down the line. So just go out, play, have fun, and see what happens.
We love that.
Thank you, guys.
And with all that being said, folks, we do have to wrap it up. Jay, Shane, it's always been a pleasure. You guys are absolutely crushing it. And I think you guys are helping guide our community as Myosin, but also obviously the broader on-chain community and beyond, into this, as I've kind of alluded to, this brave new world that we're entering, where I don't think any of us really know everything, but I think together we can do so much more. And you guys are certainly leading the charge there. So kudos to you, and excited to see what comes next. Yeah.
It's just the beginning. Curious building. That's all. Just the beginning. Long journey ahead.
Long journey ahead. And then just one more time, I think if you're tuning in live, I posted in the comments a link to the sexy new landing page that we just posted, as well as the Skoool link. And if you're listening in from after the fact, and you're not on X, whether you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, or you're listening in from the Spotify podcast, we'll include in the show notes. But you can also just go to, I think the link is skoool.com, SKOOL.com /the AI-Enabled Marketer, with just hyphens in between. But yeah, if you're having trouble finding it, you'll see it on our website very soon. So that'll go up hopefully by the end of this week. And yeah, and if not, just find us on X. And Jay and Shane, how can people find you guys real quick? Yeah.
So on X, I'm J_in_marketing, and it's just J, just the letter. Also, the Skoool community link is in my bio in my X account. Right. So find me there.
And on X, I'm Shane K Farrell, 2 R's, 2 L's.
Brilliant. Okay, folks, this was awesome. I have to run. I have some people yelling at me now. But as always, this has been a great chat. We'll see you online. And thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Have a good one.
Thanks for having us. Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.